saw a familiar face walking on the avenue, both surprised by the way we looked. The years had changed us too.
Hello again. Welcome to another episode of Gung. It's January 15, 2025. My name is Joseph Giannini. You know about me by now, I hope. Vietnam veteran, been doing the show for over 20 years. Have a special guest today. And the title of the show is Framed in the U.S.A. This is Barbara Feldman. She has a pending case. She's going to tell you about it. I'm representing her pro bono with her attorney, David McMasters, but I just want to know that, let you people know that I met her in the dog park, walking Eden. She came up to me. I saw her plenty of times. I didn't know who she was. Came up to me. I was ending my walk with Eden. She said, would you sign this petition? It's a petition against making any changes to the dog park. I'm on board with that. Next time I see her, she's in the IGA. A few months later, she says, I'm about 20 feet away. I got arrested because of the petition. And I go over and I talk to her, and I tell them I'm an attorney. I'm retired, criminal defense. I do a show. You call me. I go see you. And then I walk in and you have this binder for me. That's like incredible. This is like she's ready to go to trial. So we talk for an hour. And I said, look, I'll help you out. And I'm on board. And so this is what we've been doing. But I want you to tell me what happened. How'd you get to be arrested and have a pending case?
Okay, well, as you know, I put together a petition, and there were 4 people collecting signatures. It wasn't just me, which is part of the issue here that led up to this. And I presented it to the town board, and I was the only one there, and they were quiet, and they took it. I had copies for everybody. I passed them out.
Petition, what was the petition about?
The petition basically said that the issue was a small dog park area. And we weren't actually fighting against having a small dog park area. We just didn't want the park as it is now to be changed. And we had 20 other acres to work with. And there was a space right outside the existing park with a gate from the existing park into that area that would have been ideal for it. So we weren't anti-small dog area. We were just anti the
No, you were not anti-small dog.
But no, it was just a location that and everybody felt the same way. There had been a spring CAC meeting a couple of weeks before, and like 30 people stood up and said, we don't want this, we don't want this, we don't want this, except for one person. That person happened to have been on the small dog park committee that was appointed by the town board.
And who was that?
His name was Devin Elliott.
And I know now that Devin Elliott is the husband of Nathan Lane, and they're wealthy, they have a house in the village, and maybe they think that they can't be held accountable by us.
Well, hopefully.
Go on.
And then he and I actually got into it a little bit at that CAC meeting.
That was August 19.
No, that was the Springs Park Committee meeting. This was prior to that at the CAC meeting, when everybody had a certain amount of time, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, I don't remember specifically, but to speak. And when it was my turn, he had spoken before me, and he continued.
Slow down just a little.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
My brain works too fast. My mouth can keep up. So he refused to relinquish the floor when it was my turn to speak. So I just looked over at him and I said, is there a reason you're still standing there? And everybody started to laugh. And I'm sure he got very annoyed by that, because nobody likes to be made to look, stupid. But he finally, he got out of the way, and I said my piece, and there was a lot of support for what I said. I had done a drawing and where it could have been and where they proposed. And it got a little ugly at that meeting. And there was an article about it in one of the papers. I don't remember which, but it does say that it got kind of nasty.
He got nasty with you.
Yeah, to some extent, I seem to be the lightning rod there. but people were getting angry because they didn't want what they were trying to force down our throats.
Other people were getting annoyed by what he was doing, you mean?
Well, what he represented and the fact that he wouldn't get out of the way. I mean, he.
All right, fast forward now, there was
Now,
another.
fast forward, we there was a meeting called on August 19th for the Springs Park Committee. And on that committee were 6 or 7 people, all of whom were in lockstep to get their agenda
How did they
passed.
become part of that committee?
They were appointed.
By who?
I believe Kathy Burke Gonzalez, and there was a liaison from the town board who was not yet elected, but he was a temporary appointee, Ian Calder Piedmonte, who was subsequently elected to that position, mostly because he had no opposition. It was him or nothing. So at that meeting, I again raised the issue of the petition. I was interrupted by Calder Piedmonte and by Neil Kraft, who was the appointed chairman of that committee, repeatedly. And we know about the petition.
What's your pitch?
I'm getting to that. And then I turned around and I said, can I please speak? I have the right to speak, and just please stop interrupting me. And then Devin Elliott, who was the one from the CAC meeting that I had a little bit of an issue with, said to me, oh, explain to me, what was your pitch about that, to getting to people to sign it? I said, my pitch? I said, I wasn't selling used cars. I said, the point of the petition is clearly written right across the top. There's nothing mystical here. There's nothing sneaky here. And he said, but what was your pitch? What was your pitch? And it was just like so rude and obnoxious that I finally said, there is no pitch. There were other people collecting signatures. There was a woman sitting next to him who was one of the people who was collecting signatures. She happened to be on the committee. Thank goodness. She was the only one who spoke out for us.
Who was that?
Carol Buda Sachs.
Oh, okay.
She was there. And she kept trying to show him, and he was waving it away. And I just sat down and waited for the rest of that segment of the meeting to finish, because other people had things to say along the lines of what I was saying. And then I left. But I think it's good to interject at this point that there were numerous letters written to the editor of the East Hampton Star after that meeting, saying how rude and hostile the committee was to anybody who dissented from their proposed agenda.
The August 19th meeting.
So after I left, I went home and I picked up my dogs. I was going to go to the park. And then I said, you know what? It's like 5:30. The meeting should be letting out. Let me see if I missed anything else. So I drove back to the meeting, which is at Town Hall, 159 Panago. And as I pulled into the parking lot, I saw Carol and Randy Handwerker and a number of other people exiting. So I pulled over and I said, did I miss anything? So they said, no, not really. And then,
Mrs. Carroll speaking to you?
yeah, because Randy said hello. I've known her for many years. And then she kept walking. And then Carol pointed across the lot. And I said, what are you pointing at? She said, that's Devlin. I barely recognized him because he had a hat on. And I wouldn't have known him anyway because my interaction with him had been brief both times. And he's, to me, other than the fact that he's still a rather innocuous looking person. So I didn't mean anything. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go see if I can straighten out this pitch thing with him. So I continued around the lot. And there were a lot of people there. I couldn't pull off anywhere. I couldn't park anywhere. It was busy. So I see him starting to laugh and point at me and gesticulating, and which, by the way, is very evident on the video, the surveillance video. So I went around again to see if I could find him, and the crowd was thinner by that point. So I just stopped in front of him. And he was a little bit further away, maybe 10 feet away from me. And I opened the window and I said,
You stopped he was actually on your left side.
he was on the driver's side and I
Yeah.
was facing north because
Yeah.
I was following the way the road goes. Had I made a left-hand turn instead of making a right, I would have hit the exit lane. But I just pulled up in front of him and I said, what did you mean by what's your pitch? Did you not understand that other people were collecting signatures? And he just laughed and laughed. I said to him, excuse me, what are you laughing about? Why don't you just answer my question? And he came back with an answer that stunned me. I have never had anybody say anything like this in my life, and it's not easy for a 75-year-old woman to say this, but he asked me, why don't you shave your mustache?
Good.
I said, what? And he walked closer to my car, put his hands on the window, where the window is, leaned his head into the car and said, oh, you have your dogs. What a terrible dog owner you must be. It's so hot. You left them here the whole time? I said, no, actually, I went home and picked them up. Please step back because I'm going to leave and I don't want to roll over your feet. That's how close he was to my car. His head was actually in my car.
I just want to interject. There is what he didn't realize. There was a surveillance video or a video that was like taking down or recording exactly what was happening, and it shows exactly what you say. Him coming over to your car, leaning into the window, and it goes on for maybe 20, 30 seconds, and then you drive off. And that is the basis of the incident. Go ahead.
Right. Well, I didn't know there was a video either, to be honest with you, and I'm glad there was. So I left. I continued driving back around and left. And then about a week later, I get a call from a East Hampton town police officer.
By the name of Habe.
His name was Habe.
And you had some prior
And
contact
it didn't
with
really
him.
ring a bell with me. But he said, Barbara, I understand there was an incident at the parking lot. Can you come in and talk about it? Well, I've never done anything wrong. I'm a by-the-book person. I said, sure. So within an hour, I showed up.
But you went to the police annex, actually behind the town board building.
Yes, I went to the police annex. And I went into the room, and he took a piece of paper, and he kind of put it in front of me with his hand over it, and he said, I said, what is this? He goes, oh, it's just standard operating procedure for any investigation. I don't think about it. I take him at his word. I sign it. We start this conversation, and I told him what happened, pretty much exactly, probably almost word for
He
word.
also showed you the video.
That was after. So then he said to me, well, here's a video of what you did. So it shows the car exactly the way. I said, well, what does it show? I didn't do it. I didn't do anything wrong. What is it showing? You went around twice. I said, and what does that mean? I wasn't speeding. What does that mean? I went around twice. There are times I go to the supermarket and I go around 3 or 4 times before I can find a parking spot. And with that, he said, you're under arrest.
That's
said,
the
"For
first
what?"
time after he shows you the video, you're under arrest.
I said, what do you,
Did you already complete your statement?
yes.
And did you realize that he was recording you at the time?
I did not. And I also told him during our conversation that there was a witness, somebody who had been
You
there.
gave him the name?
I gave him the name, contact information, because I have everything in my phone.
When you say you're under arrest, what did he do?
He handcuffed me behind. I said, what are you doing? I didn't do anything wrong. What are you doing? And then he took me out of the room. And
But he handcuffed you to the rear?
To what?
To the rear?
To the rear.
All right.
And then, bearing in mind, I'm not exactly a threatening kind of person. I'm small, I'm old.
And he handcuffed you to the rear.
And then he took me out of the room, and there was another police officer there who was kind of big, and the two of them yanked me out of the annex and put me in a car. I said, what are you doing? I did nothing wrong. Took me to the police station, processed me.
The police station in Wainscott.
In Wainscott, processed
I mean,
me.
they fingerprinted you, they took
Oh, he couldn't
photographs?
even work the fingerprint machine. It took him like forever to get the fingerprint machine to work. I said to him, can you get somebody in here to like do it if you
Did you
can't?
know what the charges were at that point?
No, he never read me the charges. He never Mirandized me. Never.
All right, tell him, but he's problematic, taking on a case that you're involved. Why?
Oh, it was outrageous that he was on the case because I had 2 years prior to this been involved in a road rage incident where I pulled out of my street in a car, came speeding up behind me, tailgating me. I made the first turn I could. He followed me. He cut me off. He got out of his car. He was banging out my windows. I called 4 times for help. I backed
You
my
called to the police for
to
help.
the police 4 times, and I have a screenshot of that. I keep everything. I just keep everything. Now I have a dash cam because, anyway, so to get away from him, I backed up. I went back to 3 Mile Harbor, and then I made a left onto, I don't remember, I think Abraham's Path, and then another left onto Machi, which is a T.
And he was still following you?
And he was following me, and then when I got to Machi, I thought I had lost him. So Machi is a T street, and I came around at the end, and I came back, and there he was in front of me, cutting me off again. I drove over somebody's lawn to get away from him, still calling the police. And when I came out he had to turn around, so he lost a couple of seconds there. When I came out to Abraham's Path, there was a police car heading north. I was then heading south. I stopped the car. I said, oh, did you come to handle this? Because the guy's, and as I'm saying that, he's pulling out of the street. Now, I want to make this clear. This is not a normal looking guy. This is a guy who had to be like 6'3", 6'4", muscles, gold chains.
Tattoos.
What? Tats all over the place. He was a scary guy and with a
You're gonna have to
history.
Keep going.
So I said to him, so he said to me, okay, the guy pulls up, gets out of his car, and Habe says to me, okay, you could go, I'll take care of this. And
you could go.
I could go. I said to myself, why am I going? I'm the one calling it. He says, no, just go, I'll take care of it. I didn't want to argue with him, so I left.
And nothing happened.
He wrote up the report as it was a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding?
Between a 73-year-old woman and this goon.
He followed me for it was unbelievable. So
So he's the arresting officer,
and I filed a complaint.
and they exonerated him, right?
There was an IA investigation, and he did nothing
But
wrong.
nothing happened to him. So now he's the arresting officer, and he has you over at the precinct, and they book you and put you in a cell, right?
For 6 hours.
And they allow you to make one call,
Yes.
and who did you reach?
I reached Eddie Burke, who said he happened to be, it's the only criminal lawyer that I knew. I don't know.
He's a good lawyer.
And he said he happened to be at the court. He would wait for me. So I said to Habe that the judge and
The attorney are there waiting.
they're waiting. So he took forever. And then I finally, like hours passed, and I said to him, are we going to leave soon? Because, they're waiting. So he said to me, so let them wait.
Did you know what the charges were by then?
No.
All right. There came a time when they took you from the precinct over to the court. It was now about what time?
4:30, maybe a little bit later.
And were you handcuffed?
I was definitely handcuffed. They pulled me out of the car, and there was a photographer waiting there.
Yeah.
What were the odds that a photographer would be waiting there?
Can you
And this is
zoom
what
in
the
on
picture
this?
he took.
There you go. There was a photographer, a reporter by the name of T.C. McMorrow that was there. We call this the perp walk. This has been done to a number of my clients, but they're really big-time criminals. This is a perp walk. This was the setup. I emailed him and told him he was a low-down, dirty rat.
It was so disgraceful. First of all, in my opinion, something like this changes the court of public opinion. Everybody already presumes that you're guilty before, before you're even tried. So you're supposed to be innocent before you're proven guilty, but it seems to me it's the exact opposite.
Yeah, I walked up to a couple of people and I told them, I was helping you in this. Did she really do that? Oh, my God. Come on already.
Well, people do that to me all the time.
All
They
right.
come up and they ask me, did you really try to run down somebody with your
All
car?
right. So what happened is they arrested you for reckless endangerment, which is a Class A misdemeanor, and they're saying that you recklessly engaged in conduct that created a substantial risk or serious physical injury to another person. And this is what they say. And repeatedly drive an unsafe and imprudent speed towards Devin Elliott, coming within feet from hitting him before changing direction. This is not even a crime, but see, you got arrested and you didn't do anything in the USA. You've been framed big time. And
Well, what I find egregious is that this police officer, who already had a complaint against him by me, happened to be the arresting officer on this case,
and
never called a witness, never looked at the surveillance tape, and clearly I did not change direction. I clearly did not go around multiple times. I clearly wasn't speeding. I wasn't swerving. I wasn't
and
any.
you have a witness to this.
And I have a witness who signed a notarized statement.
And I know because I went to the East Hampton Police Department, we spoke with Lieutenant Martin, he knows all of this. And up to this date, no one's spoken to your witness. And I had a meeting with the East End Bureau Chief, Brad McGill, with your lawyer, over an hour, and nobody's talked to your witness yet.
Nobody's talked to my witness yet. And their excuse is that because, this is the police department's excuse, because the habeas actions are attached to this criminal case, they can't do anything until it's,
No, they could have him arrested.
there are many things they could do, but
I
they
made
just
it plain.
refuse.
I made it plain in the letter that Brad McGill has now, that they committed crimes by making false statements against you. They framed you. They made false statements to the police officer, and he went along with it, knowing that you did nothing wrong. You've been framed in the USA. This is, unfortunately, it's not uncommon, but not to someone like you.
I mean, I'm somebody who's been living and working here for 35 years. I designed hospitals and healthcare facilities. I'm as straight as an arrow. I don't break laws. I don't speed. I'm 75. I'm in no rush to get anywhere. I'm a careful driver. I've got dogs in the back of my car. I would never put them at harm. I would never put anybody at harm. And for this police officer who obviously had an axe to grind with me already, to be on this case, don't tell me it's a matter of just luck.
No,
Please.
we took that issue up with Lieutenant Martin. You really gave him a lot of information about Habe, and I said to him, well, did anybody review what he was doing? Anybody look at what the hell he's doing? No. And then it goes, and the DA gets involved, and they don't bother either. They just go ahead and prosecute you. That DA that was prosecuting you is gone. Now they're trying to claim, oh, she was a good DA. Well, good DAs make terrible mistakes sometimes. And this is not a mistake, though. I mean, she overlooked a video that exonerates you. I mean, this case should have never gone anywhere. There should be no case.
There may not be, because we have so much exculpatory evidence, so much that, not to mention the letters that people wrote in my behalf, which are just stellar. I mean,
And one more thing happened. That the Springs Dog Park Committee is gone. They've been terminated.
well, they have been harassing me, the likes of which I've never seen. They took that photo
Oh, right.
of the perp walk and posted it all over the dog park. Posted it. And this is as recently as Christmas Day, they've been putting this stuff
I went
up.
over there. You called me, I went over there. I took the photo down, I left, and someone put it back up.
Someone put it back up, and then weeks later, they put it back up again.
And then we went to the police.
And I went to the police, and I wanted to file a harassment charge, and they wouldn't do that. And I finally sent him, I said, why are you protecting him?
No, they don't have enough evidence. Someone posted the perp photos for sure, but they don't have a connection between the suspects and that. Someone has to say, I saw him do it. It's not enough to say he was in the area, he passed by, and then I saw it later on, or, it's not enough.
But
They definitely did this.
Neil Kraft, who is the chairman of the committee, who has been documentedly harassing me for almost 4 years. I have written letters to the town board saying that it's unacceptable and they need to do something, which, by the way, they never did. He posted that exact same photo on social media,
Neil Kraft.
exactly the same thing. He's the only one that has a copy of
He
it.
did one more thing. Just recently, he went to East Hampton Town Police and tried to bring an harassment charge against you, and the officer wouldn't do it. Officer Stone.
He tried to make up another complaint so that I would be rearrested. There's something wrong with a person who is so driven to harm somebody else and watch them. He's destroyed my business. He's destroyed my social standing. He's embarrassed me in my
Well,
own community.
He's, I think now, there's no way this case is gonna go forward. You've never done anything wrong as far as just those in your life, exemplary. A lot of people really like you. Some people say about you, you really stand up, you don't back down. I know a person like that. Sitting
Oh, yeah?
court.
No, I don't back down, but only if I feel that I'm operating in the greater good. It's not like I just take an arbitrary stand on something and dig my heels in. If somebody can show me a reason for something.
I got a feeling you're a dog person.
I'm a dog person? Nah. Nah, dogs, cats. I have 2 Afghan hounds. I'm sure a lot of people will recognize me from the dogs. I have my 3rd rescue kitty, who I swear is the reincarnation of the second one, who was the reincarnation of the first one. They were all identical. And I've been involved with animals for decades.
The letter that I wrote to David Rattree at the East Hampton Star, he wouldn't publish it, but I do tell, like David and the people that I'm a dog person. I even had a dog in Vietnam. I mean,
The thing of it is, if dogs like you, typically you're a pretty good person. And I go to the park and every dog comes over to me.
they all think, I think that they think we're dogs.
I don't know what they think, but I'd rather be a dog than a person right now. But
All right,
honestly,
we're just about a few seconds. It's amazing how fast it goes. We are over.
I saw a familiar face walking on the avenue, both surprised by the way